Thank you, Ian. Some very clear messages. Particularly interested in the restorative justice and what role it could potentially play in a decriminalised environment as well. So thank you, Ian. Very clear. Our next piece is actually a video. You remember we had some reference, Judge Anne Ryan, previously to the District Court's referral programme in Cork, and Judge Olann Kelleher is on this video, and Joe Kirby from the HSC and Declan Reardon from Coolmine. So we can roll it there. Ryan, please.
What happened first really was that when I started, there was no cocaine coming before the court. It's only in the last few years there's been a dramatic increase, and I noticed that when there was assault cases before the court, that cocaine, particularly among students, was a major factor, and it was becoming a very big issue. And I was conscious of the fact, because I had given some talks in the university and in the schools about the consequences of a drug conviction, that the consequences of Class A drug conviction like cocaine are huge for the accused. In the district court, it's up to 12 months in jail. In the circuit court, it's up to 5 years. But that really is only the tip of the iceberg in one sense, because it affects the CVs and the Garda vetting for all these people. So it was because of that I felt that there was a need for making it a bit different from cannabis, because as you all know, in cannabis you have to have 3 convictions before you can get a jail sentence. Cocaine is Class A, you can get a jail sentence on the first day, although that would never happen really, but you can. So on that basis, having regard to the amount of money that they were spending on cocaine, 100, 200, 300, 400, I decided just to pick kind of a figure that I felt would be costly to the accused in one sense, of €750. What happens then in court, if it was the first offence, I would say, well, I give you an opportunity to avoid a conviction, etc., etc., and everyone takes it. Everyone takes it. Nobody has not taken it. When the first case of possession comes up, say there's 20 in a row, I can do them in a quarter of an hour. If the first case comes up, I make the small little speech about the 4 points, how it will affect you if you have a conviction. I only make it once, and everyone takes it then. I don't have to say it each time. So it's a huge success from my point of view, because a lot of my colleagues have ended up trying not to give a conviction, trying to do this, adjourning, lists get clogged up. They don't get any help. What I want is to give them help if they want it, and they all take the help. The reason I think it's a success actually is that these people who were before the courts never realised, 1, how serious it was, 2, that they had a serious problem, and 3, that if they get convicted, they could lose their job and their future, and they're willing to do anything then.
As Judge Kelleher alluded to, he's leading the programme, and the referrals come directly from Judge Kelleher. So the first piece of work we did was actually develop a referral process from the court to the HSC at the time. And to be fair, our colleagues in probation services got on board, and they actually facilitated the referrals from the court itself coming to us in the HSC. So initially, when this started, we used existing HSC resources. We had a HSC addiction counsellor, Bill Kelly, actually, who gave of his time to this project in addition to his own role. Very soon we became aware that this wasn't sustainable, given the amount of referrals coming and just our commitment to the project. So we set about constructing a dedicated SARE worker for Judge Kelleher's courts. We approached Judge Kelleher around the fines that were being paid, and we put a proposal together to Judge Kelleher to use that funding, to use the fines, to actually fund a dedicated SARE worker for his courts. He agreed, and we set up that structure then of actually going and finding a legal employer to host and recruit the SARE worker role. Coolmine were approached, they agreed, and we developed a job description and recruited a dedicated SARE worker. And again, the funding coming directly from the court system. Just to give clarity on how that works, an individual pays their fine in the court's fines office, and then that money and that funding goes directly to Coolmine. And then obviously the HSC, we meet with Coolmine regularly in terms of governance and monitoring service level arrangements, so that court's fund is there, and that's how we keep track of it, and that ultimately funds the full-time worker. So I suppose just to acknowledge that if someone has difficulty paying the money or the fine, that doesn't prohibit them accessing a health service. Obviously, Judge Kelleher just alluded to there's scope, there's discretion, but from a HSC perspective, you know, that health service, that intervention is available to all. And if Judge Kelleher, you know, directs that they can't afford to pay it, it'll happen anyway. And that's an important piece for us, that we're not seeking to put barriers to health services. Just to reiterate that. To date, we've had 189 individuals come through the process, which is a good number. And I think for the Assembly to keep in mind that was right through COVID. So nighttime economy, festivals, concerts, all shut down. So I would say if COVID hadn't happened, we would have significantly more referrals through the system. Probably the most important point for me to say as well is that, kind of similar to what I was saying in the June Assembly, this SARE worker is part of that integrated structure, those services. So 11% of the people who came through Judge Kelleher's system needed specialist onward referral to a drug and alcohol services. So needed specialist referral onto our Coolmine hubs. So this worker is integrated into that system. Like most projects we do in Cork and Kerry, we always seek to get an independent evaluation of the project. So we contracted with the School of Public Health in Trinity College Dublin, and the principal investigator there, Professor Johanna Ivers, led a team to actually capture and collate the data and actually see, is this programme working, and what the demographics are. So at this point in time, after 189 people coming through, we have 93% attendance. So that's really saying people are motivated, they want to engage with the programme, and to be quite honest, we're delighted to have an alternative option to get a health intervention, pay a fine, and actually avoid further conviction or interaction with the judicial system. So 93% attendance is significant. As I said, 11% needed on referral. That's a very important 11% for us. And broadly speaking, looking at the demographics of, I think we've 81% of the people were employed, 7% were students. It's a cohort who wouldn't normally probably come to our services or mainstream services. So we were providing significant health interventions across the cohort who perhaps may not have come to our door in the first instance. But all in all, in terms of the programme, the structures and the systems, it's worked very well. I have to say, and I suppose we were lucky in that we were aware of the national diversion programme model that was being developed and the use of the SARE model for that. So that helped us really formulate the health side of this and just to integrate it with Judge Kelleher's courts.
SARE is designed so that it can help a wide range of people. It can be very beneficial to someone who may just use drugs recreationally but needs to have some education about the choices that they're making. Furthermore, it can help people that have a substantive issue with drug and alcohol use to allow them the opportunity to explore that, to see what options are available to them, and if they choose, to be assisted to get help. We use a standardized assessment tool to have a kind of comprehensive insight into exactly what's happening for someone. So that won't just cover the issue of drug use or non-drug use. It will address their mental health, physical health, socioeconomic status, quite a lot there, actually, so that we can have paint a better picture as to exactly what's happening for someone. And that person can also reflect on what's going on for them at that time. We could be the first person that someone opens up to with regard to an issue such as their mental health. They could be suffering from depression and never had the opportunity or the inclination to speak to a professional about it. Now, we can demonstrate to them that they can be helped and that it's not as scary as it would have been in their imagination to have conversations about difficult topics such as mental health. At the moment, we're seeing cocaine use increase dramatically in the region to the point where it's very normal for people to know people are using cocaine, to see people going into pub toilets using cocaine, regardless of whether it's in the countryside or the city. Now, with that, it can lead people to think that this is okay, that it's normal, and that there is no harm to be derived from using it all. But what we can do is we can help people to make an informed choice about whether or not they either want to stop using or continue using. Now, that's up to them, but we'd like to make sure that people are able to make an educated, informed choice about what's happening for them. My final thoughts for the Citizens' Assembly are that we're in a unique position here to be able to help people to make informed choices about their drug use. The more information people have about what they're putting into their bodies, the better choices they're going to make. That's what we've seen work.
I believe the Citizens' Assembly would have a huge role to play in this. I could speak at a judges' conference and it wouldn't have much consequence. But if the Citizens' Assembly make statements and give facts like Joe's given earlier, and they are backed up then by the experts like yourselves, then I believe the judges will be far more open to considering making changes. Judges don't like to be told that you should do it this way. It is a discretion. So if you're asking their discretion, the expertise should be used for them to enable them to make their discretionary thoughts.
Yeah, so my thoughts for the Citizens' Assembly is, again, when there's strong partnership across multiple agencies here in conjunction with the courts, that we can get good results. There's 189 people who've benefited from Judge Kelleher's programme. That's 189 young people predominantly who didn't get a conviction, who got a health intervention and who got an onward referral if necessary. That's a significant cohort. So my message to the Assembly is, you know, we can do this. We can have a health-led approach. And I suppose from a Cork perspective, we were just very lucky to have a pioneering judge who supported this programme. I think the willingness on the health side is there, the model is there, the infrastructure is there. It's just about getting the Assembly maybe to provide further expertise and guidance on how we move forward.